extraterrestrial in origin.
One day, you're plucked from your world.
This dimension sucks.
We are coming to you live from Time Court. I've been apprehended by a Time Lord for using my interdimensional radio without a permit.
We are time rebels.
Love that.
We don't have time for your bullshit.
Setting up pitch meetings now.
Will you both shut up?
That's the Time Lord. But I just found out this place is full of Time Lords. This guy is nothing more than a civil servant. I think Lord in this dimension means lame.
I think it means intern. Ha ha ha.
This is not a joke. This will go on your permanent time record.
What are we going to do about the episode if we have no radio?
We could record one of these trials, I guess? What is this department? Reincarnations? That sounds cool.
Hey, come back here.
I think it's already in session. Let's just sit down here and listen for a while.
We talk a lot about second chances in this courtroom. But I will argue, and the plaintiff's testimony will prove, that Ms. Bailey has never been allowed to fully live her life despite her being 25 years old. She has been cruelly deprived of every basic human experience. And I know, Honorable Judge, that it is hard to understand humans. What time means to them, why it is so precious. I know we all view their physically bound lives as torture. And I will respectfully insist that we mimic human speech and communicate verbally, not telepathically, and in Aster's earthly native tongue, so that she can have a fair and honest trial. I ask you, Honorable Judge of space and time, to set aside your infinite knowledge. Due to circumstances outside of her control, my client will die in 2 days. And by the most fundamental statute of time law, none of us can change this fact. She will die, but I am here today to petition for the opportunity to rehome her soul.
Physically bound beings are not permitted to know their futures.
And yet, sometimes they learn them. In this case, Aster learned her fate from a suspiciously gifted strip mall fortune teller. Her predicament was brought to our attention at the Center for Second Lives, and we found it to be a highly compelling case.
I'm aware of your organization. Really, a fortune teller? Sounds like a Time Lord operating without a permit. This is a serious violation, and we will need to investigate.
Your Honor, if you wish to investigate, she will be dead before that case ever makes it to court.
On a valid point. You may proceed.
Thank you. I call the plaintiff, Aster Bailey, to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in all timelines and with every atom of your being?
I do.
Aster. That's an unusual name on Earth, isn't it?
It's a wildflower. My mother's favorite. They grew all around the cabin where I was born.
Did you grow up in nature?
Yes, I grew up in the woods, in a cabin that didn't have electricity or running water.
Why did your parents choose this kind of lifestyle?
My father thought that the world was going to end. He wanted to live away from society, somewhere safe.
Did that kind of living arrangement negatively affect you?
I loved the woods, but my parents, they were unstable, and they were all I had, so I didn't meet another person until much later.
Until you escaped?
Yes.
So you had no human contact other than your parents during your childhood? And as a human, social groups are vital to your health and happiness?
That's correct.
If that is so essential to human health and happiness, why did you stay in such an isolated environment?
Well, I was a kid. I only knew what my parents told me. And my mother told me that we were the only humans left alive on Earth, and everyone else were... How do I explain? Like a doppelganger?
A zombie?
Yes, kind of. They looked normal, but they weren't people at all. They were parasites. And if you touched one, you would die. And if you made eye contact, you would become paralyzed.
That sounds like a stressful environment for a child.
It was. But the wilderness, it was maybe worse. I mean, while it was beautiful, there were long periods without food. Many times I was left alone while my parents went out searching for provisions.
And how important is the parent-child relationship for humans?
It's everything. They were my entire world.
So why, if that's the case, did you decide to run away?
One day, in one of the weeks when I was left alone in the cabin, I saw a meteor streak across the sky. And usually meteors are much higher up and aren't smoky or on fire. And as it passed over the cabin, it snapped off the treetops. And I never heard anything so loud in my whole life. It was the crunch of metal and the branches, and it was terrifying. Now, I know what I was taught was the meteor was actually an airplane.
Did you approach the crash site?
I did.
And what did you find there?
I found a man.
The first person you'd ever seen other than your parents?
Yes, and he had this crazy look in his eyes. One I'd only seen in an animal before, like a rabbit, is caught in a trap. I knew I had to help him.
You pulled him from the plane?
I tried to. I was only 15, but in the struggle, I touched his hand, and nothing happened. I looked him in the eyes, and I was fine. I wasn't paralyzed. I wasn't sick. They had lied to me.
Who, Miss Bailey?
My parents, they lied about everything. I had to leave. They weren't safe anymore in my mind.
A traumatic childhood does not qualify for a reincarnation council. Can we move things along?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bailey, can you tell me about your first job?
After I escaped, I was in a society I knew nothing about. It was like trying to speak a language you've never heard before. I didn't know what streets were or cars. I got into a lot of scary situations back in those years. So, when someone approached me on the street and offered me a job, I took it.
What was this job?
It was a medical trial.
So you've had to scrap together an existence as someone with no papers, no legal existence, and finally someone offers you a break.
I thought so. They were particularly excited that I didn't have documentation.
And why do you think that was exciting to them?
Because I don't think what they were doing was legal.
Well, what makes you say that?
Because they kept me there for 5 years.
Can you give us a brief overview of those years?
I'll try.
Take your time.
My existence was in a white room. It had a bed and a desk. And for the first year, I had to wear this helmet. And it would vibrate violently for hours at a time. And I had the worst headaches. And then thankfully, I transitioned into the injections. Once a week, I would wake up to bright lights in my face, and a team of doctors would be surrounding me. And they would start a timer and count down from 10, and they would give me an injection in my stomach.
Did they tell you what it was for?
No. But I could tell that they were frustrated. I don't think that they were getting the results that they wanted. I mean, I would tell them about the strange symptoms I was having. I was passing out often. My heart would race, and I would get this strange radiating pain from the site of the injection. And they didn't like hearing that. And they increased the dosage. I got so dizzy. I couldn't stand. and there was a ringing in my ears, and it was so loud. I had to shout to hear myself talk.
What you are describing is severe tinnitus and vertigo.
Yes. I'm not sure how long I was like that, but one day I woke up and I was on the sidewalk. They were done with me, I guess.
How were your symptoms?
It was like being constantly drunk in an airplane engine. It was so loud. I was constantly nauseous, and I ended up in the ER.
Did they know what was wrong with you?
They found these tiny robots in my blood. Nanobots. I know, it sounds ridiculous. I think they were trying to give me brain damage and then cure it. And there was an investigation. But nothing came of it.
Tell me about your life after that.
I would have periods of feeling almost normal, and then the tinnitus and the headaches and the nausea would get worse, and I would be bedbound. And it was hard to hold down a job, and I got fired a lot.
In this period of your life, did you experience love, friendship, motherhood?
I thought I did once, but she mostly got close enough to me to steal my identity. I didn't even know that was possible. So there went the medical trial money.
Any romantic relationships?
No. Well, not yet. But since I'm almost dead, I guess never.
So as of now, you have no friends, no family, no lovers, and no pets?
It sounds depressing when you put it like that, but yes.
Would you like to experience these things?
More than anything.
However, millions of miles away, a giant solar flare has already erupted on the surface of Ms. Bailey's sun. When the tidal wave of magnetic particles hits her atmosphere, Ms. Bailey will be walking outside. The powerful magnetic field will dislodge the nanobots from the botched medical trial, lacerating Ms. Bailey over 1,000 times as they exit her body. We, as the stewards of time, have no responsibility for the actions of an ape-like creature that has a talent for cruelty. But we do have the power and the authority to give Ms. Bailey another chance to actually live her life before it is over.
Counsel, your client has no doubt had an unfortunate life, but most ape-like creatures have sad and unfortunate lives. You have not proved why her case is worthy of reincarnation.
Because I already have a willing host. At the exact moment of Ms. Bailey's death in 2 days, a little girl will be born. I am petitioning for reincarnation, yes, but it would be more consistent with a transplant.
A transplant? Most unusual.
But not unheard of. May I be allowed to call my final witness?
Proceed.
I'd like to call Joseph Willard to the stand.
I am Joseph Willard.
Swear him in? What a shambles this has become.
Apologies, Your Honor, bear with us. Double time, bailiff.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in all timelines and with every atom of your being?
I do.
Continue.
I am Joseph Willard, and I owe my life to Astor Bailey. I was piloting the plane that crashed near Astor's cabin.
Order! Order in the court. Proceed.
Astor opened the door of my plane and pulled me out far enough that I was able to drag myself from the wreckage. She bandaged me. She told me to run. Her parents, as I have now learned, would likely have killed me. I owe my life to her.
Explain the transplant you'd like to propose.
Astor, when you saved me, you gave me an amazing second life. I fell in love. I got married. We're expecting our first child. So when Dawn got in contact with us to explain what would happen to Astor and how we could help, we knew what we had to do. Your Honor, I would like Astor to become my daughter.
Oh, no.
You would like your daughter, at the moment of her birth, to have her soul transplanted with Aster Bailey?
This is what we propose, yes.
And what of the soul of the baby? Did you consider that?
We combine them.
Twin souls. Interesting. Very interesting. I haven't had one of these cases in eons. Aster Bailey, in my judgment of the laws of space and time, is a weak candidate for reincarnation. But a twin entanglement is risky and quite rare. Miss Bailey, you will become an infant again. You will start again. You will forget your former life. You will forget how to walk, to talk, and you may not be the same person as you are today. Is that something you want?
I want to start again.
Then I approve this entanglement and move for the soul implantation of Earthling Aster Bailey.
Congratulations, Miss Bailey. You deserve this.
I've never seen anything more beautiful.
It's life. It's creation. It's everything.
Get over it. We need to get to our courtroom. Your Honor, this feral human has violated the sacred rules of time and space.
Take off your space-time helmet, Lord. You sound ridiculous.
Okay.
Your Honor, this dangerous human has placed time plasma inside of a radio and is using that to sonically travel around parallel universes. I recommend she be suspended in time jail.
How did the human come by the time plasma?
This esteemed Time Lord left it in my backyard, Your Honor. I found it, and I invoke the universal law of finders keepers.
I rule in favor of the feral human.
What? Your Honor, she doesn't even have a permit. She's using the recordings to make a stupid podcast.
All right. Human, you can do 3 more episodes this season, and you're done, okay?
Radio on!
Aster, played by
Tori Serda.
Dawn, played by
Riley Scott.
Joseph Willard, played by
Drew Patterson.
Time Judge, played by
Richard Covington.
Please rate, review, and subscribe, or I'll steal some time plasma and go back in time and try to kill Chairman Mao or something equally pointless that starts an unnecessary butterfly effect sequence of events that eventually destroys humanity.